Friends, we're back. Post-Thanksgiving, it's Everything Mayor. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving hearing from John Mayer on Life with John Mayer and How's Life with John Mayer. I know I did. And thanks to some of the incredible people in the Mayer community, the parts that I missed, I was able to go back and listen to and even read an amazing summary, written summary on Reddit, which was really well done. And I apologize, I don't remember the username of the person who did that, but thanks to you, because I got to catch up on a lot of the stuff that I didn't get to hear as it happened. But we'll get to that in a moment. We have a giveaway that I've been teasing and talking about forever, so stick around to the end of the show, to the After Dinner Mint portion of the show, and I will outline the details of said giveaway. All right, so let's talk here. We didn't get anything super groundbreaking on the Thanksgiving Day show that Mayer was doing live on the radio, but we did get a few things, and I figured why not kick it off, and we'll just have John, in his own words, speak and tell us what he wants us to know about the new record. So here we go.
People to understand that Richard Young is one of the very first.
I should say, let's intro this a little bit differently. Richard Young, he's going to reference Richard Young. And Richard is the creator of the My Stupid Mouth message board back in the day. He knows John personally. He's like fan number 1 or 2. So just gives you some context of who Richard Young is. And I think we should get Richard on the show. Should we? Let's try. Well, let's hear from John and Richard right now talking about what's coming up next.
Fans I've ever had in my career, and was a huge reason for my success, a huge factor of it, because he started a message board called My Stupid Mouth that would be for many, many, many years before social media the main resource for fans to connect and talk about my music. So thank you, Richard, especially on a day like Thanksgiving. But for all listening, Richard Young is employee number 2 at Facebook here. And then, of course, I think you want to know about music, like so many people do.
Yeah.
I am in the studio. I'm not in the studio every day like I normally am, because there are these other things I want to get going on in my life. But I'm in the studio and I'm working on music, and I like what I'm hearing. I write less frequently than I did when I was younger, but I think I write as well. I I mean, the problem with saying that is I could be, it's like you ever draw something while your head's crooked on a table and it seems straight, and then you pick your head up straight and you're like, that was crooked. So if I'm telling you that I think it's great and I'm crooked, it might be crooked, but I think I still have some objectivity about it, and I'm really liking what I'm hearing back. But I'm also very much aware that as soon as I finish an album and I turn it in, people go, hey, you should go everywhere and play this music. And I would want to, which is why I'm slow cooking it and finding other ways to develop other areas of my life that I wasn't able to when I was in the trenches out on the road. And so I am making a record. I have not stopped making music, but it's not the only thing in my life, and I'm developing more things in my life that I'm super excited about. But when I go in the studio, I'm excited to make music. It's just not like it was, where it gets 24/7, 365 days a year until it's done. When I'm in there 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, like doing the thing. But I can't give you a release date, but I can tell you that I'm more excited than ever about creating things. It's just not always music. How did I do, Richard?
No, that's good. Will any of the songs that you played during the solo tour,
100%.
Are those in the mix?
100%, okay. Yeah. Drifting in the Neighborhood. There's a bunch of stuff that I had written even before the solo tour that just didn't make for good solo format music. But I think I have a record that's going to cover a lot of different mindsets that I was in over a long period of time, which I think bodes well for an album. It's very first record-ish in the sense that you just keep writing and writing and writing, and you take the best of each era and put it all together. So I feel good about it, but I am finally cutting myself the slack that I don't have to do anything on a schedule. I was signed to a record label when I was 22. So I have been on a record label from the time I was 22 till about the time I was like 44, 43. So most of my life has been in contract to make albums, which I loved doing, but now I'm interested in taking a little more time, living a little more life, helping other people make music, and making sure that when I do have something to say, it's very well sculpted.
There you have it. It confirms a lot of what I think we've talked about in the past on this show, and that's he has interests in other places, and he has been on a schedule, held to a schedule before that he is now not being held to, which, I mean, can you blame the guy after 20 plus years, to try it a different way? I can't blame him. I certainly want to hear a new record sooner than later, but I get it. So my question, though, is that we've been wondering, are we starting from scratch? Are we picking up pieces of songs we've already heard? Is it going to be something like Sob Rock, where it's like a release and then there's the re-release of singles of years past? I don't think it's going to be that. But we did get confirmation that In the Neighborhood and Drifting, as well as what sounds like some other solo era songs, like maybe Why Anyone Has to Go, might be included on this. I'm sure they're being recorded. Whether or not they end up on the final album, we'll see. And it sounds like there was a lot of other material that was written around that time, so a couple of years ago at this point, that didn't get played live just because it didn't make sense to play it as a solo acoustic act in an arena, that might be being recorded for this record. So my question is are you disappointed or are you excited at the prospect that the album is going to contain songs that you've already heard? Now, I'm going to tell you, I've mentioned this before. I'm a huge Dave Matthews Band fan, and for years it was always the thing where you would get a studio album, but you had been hearing the songs live for many years. If you look at the album Crash, which is Dave Matthews Band's second album, and probably their biggest and arguably maybe their best, I don't know. I mean, people might disagree with me on that, but certainly as an album goes, front to back, I think it's up there. Most of those songs were not new to the fan base that had been paying attention to them. It wasn't until you got into their like third record, fourth record, fifth record to where you started to get the role would flip, where you get more new songs off of an album that you hadn't heard before that were not being played live in a tour before that. And there's things to like and dislike about both of those things. I will be honest with you though, when I heard that In the Neighborhood and Drifting are going to be included on the album, I was kind of like, oh, really? We're not just starting fresh? Oh man, I was hoping for just all new material. But I mean, here's the thing. Whatever your feeling is on those songs, they're inevitably going to change. They were being played by one person. Now you're going to hear a fleshed out full production recording of them. And it's, so that fleeting disappointment, and it was fleeting, like it's gone for me now. But I'm curious how you felt about it when you heard that it's going to be an album that encompasses quite a few eras of his life, both chronologically as well as probably just thematically. But I was initially a little bit like, I don't want songs from 3-4 years ago. But then it's like, what does it really matter when the song was written? Who cares? Like if it's a great recording and a great song, with the recording and that version of the song is going to be new to us. So that's that. I would love to know your thoughts and feelings on that. One last mention of some sleuth work from my good friend Miles. Now, this goes back to, there was a lot said on Thanksgiving on the channel. And people like Miles listened a whole bunch. Thank you. People like Mimi on Instagram, who post just amazing work, of archiving things that Mayer does. Provided us with so much of the content that was put out there on Thanksgiving. So that's awesome. But what was kind of funny is Miles, he I think all but has confirmed that Blake Slatkin is the producer of the next record. And it came about in kind of a funny way because there was a mention of these Nido balls. They're like stress relieving balls by Mayer on the Sirius channel on Thanksgiving. And then prior to that, Blake Slatkin posted some pictures of Nido balls in what appears to be, and I think this is true, Henson Studios. So you can see the connection here. Which is ridiculous because it's this thing for like $8 on Amazon that, you know, Mayer's recommending for a gift. It's funny because it's like that little thread has led us back to Blake Slatkin again. So I think, you know, it's pretty safe to say that he is involved in this record in some way, shape, or form. Remains to be seen. My theory about Russell Elevado, right? I think I might have got that wrong. Doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but I'm not going to go look it up at the moment. But my whole theory a couple episodes ago about, you know, the straight to tape D'Angelo style record that might be being done with Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino. That remains to be seen if that's even possibly correct. But I think the Blake Slatkin production prediction is correct. Thanks to, again, Miles and his sleuth work. Hit some other interesting things that happened on the show. And I want to pull up one more clip from Mimi's Instagram. And thank you so much for doing all of this, Mimi, as always. And if you don't follow Mimi on Instagram, please do. It's MIMIMPH_1 on Instagram. And she does an amazing job of archiving things. Now, this is a call that John took from his tour manager, Ken Healy, who has been around forever. You want to talk about like the people in the background that make the Mayer world go around. Ken Healy is one of those people. And you might have seen him, and you probably didn't realize who you're looking at, but he's a tour manager, but he always has these amazing hats. At least like 9 times out of 10 that I've seen him. He's just got great hats. And, you know, and I've never heard him talk. So it was really cool to get kind of a vibe from his tour manager, which, you know, the tour manager they are the point person for a tour. I mean, like, they are making everything happen, everything. And, you know, I have some friends who work in the production part of touring big shows and big arenas, and it is amazing what goes into a concert to end a tour. Like the number of things that have to come together at the right time and the right way are just incredible. And Ken Healy would be that person in the Mayer world making it happen for him. And anything that John does live, you know, Ken is, and I'm sure it goes even beyond that, but he's managing that for him. But here's a great call that John gets from Ken Healy, his tour manager. It's really fun. Let's take a listen.
I love that people get the chance to finally hear how excitable and great it is to talk to you on the phone, how excitable you are.
Why, thank you. Well, today's an exciting day. I have everybody in-house today.
Great.
And making dinner for everybody. And I wanted to request a song. I didn't hear how I was introduced, but I really was calling to request a song from you today because it's been awesome since it started.
I thank you. I said nice stuff about you. And by the way, it is the most tour manager thing ever to say you have people, whole family in-house. That is, you don't even realize that's a tour managerism. You got them all in house.
Well, thank you.
We're a bus. We're a bus here. We're all a bus.
We are a bus. Got it. So,
yes, tell me.
If I may,
Yeah.
you know, you mentioned a little while ago that you love tradition. You know I do, too.
Yeah.
We used to get to do Letterman every year. I believe you mentioned that as well.
Yes,
that was a great tradition. And it kind of happened and we didn't even know it was happening.
I know.
But you got to play I'm Going to Find Another You on Letterman. I think it was the second time around for Continuum, and it was just you. I believe that David Sanborn played. It was the first time I got to meet David Sanborn. But that song on that day in that city reminds me of the beginning of the holiday season every year.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
me too.
If you could play that song for me, it brings back being. I remember it was just you and me, I think, and maybe one other guy because we let everybody else have Thanksgiving, but. It brings back such great memories.
Me too. I remember playing Letterman and then zipping home to actually get home at like 7 p.m. and have dinner. Like that's the childhood dream, that you play Letterman and you're at your family's Thanksgiving table a couple hours later. And I will never forget that opportunity. And I won't forget that day either. That's a very sweet request. And I'm unfortunately unable to fulfill it. Thank you very much for calling.
So a little humor to end it there. I mean, you could tell, and the call goes a little bit longer than that, but how cool just to, you have to have people who you trust in your world especially when you're someone at the level that John Mayer is. And obviously, having Ken Healy is the reason why he's able to go out and do tours and shows and do things like the Letterman thing that we talked about last week, which was an amazing tradition. How cool is that? And then I do think about, like, man, what a job like that, though. I mean, you are at the beck and call of an artist, when they want to tour. I mean, it's, John will reference Dave Matthews Band again. Dave Matthews Band has a pretty set schedule these days. They're basically in the same places every year over the summer. So I would assume their tour manager, they got their year mapped out pretty well. Obviously, there are things that they do that are off cycle, off schedule. If they have an album tour, they go overseas. If they have a fall tour like they did this year. But Mayer's a little bit more unpredictable. He's not on such a cadence anymore. It used to be, I think, more of a cadence, but now it's kind of, as evidenced by us sitting around and wondering, hey, when are you going to put out an album and do a tour? It's not exactly quite to that level of just like a consistent touring schedule every year. So it's interesting that, not to mention Ken Healy plus the whatever configuration the band he would take out, all of the behind the scenes people like Chad, the engineer, Jeremy, the guitar tech. It goes. The list goes on and on and on of people who have to rearrange their lives to go out and do this stuff. Obviously, it's planned in advance, but it's still, the solo tour wasn't planned that far in advance, and obviously there was less personnel on that tour, but it's still pretty amazing to live in a world like that. That part I'm not built for that. Like I need more routine. I need more predictability in my life. It's okay though, because nobody's asking me to go out on a John Mayer tour, so I'm good. But some interesting stuff there from the channel on Thursday, and that brings us to the After Dinner Mint, the section of the show for the originals, the diehards, the people who stick around through the entire episode, and I appreciate it. So we are going to talk about the giveaway that I have talked about and teased many times over the last few months. We are ready to go. It is open. Now, here's the deal. It's very simple to enter. No purchase is necessary. You can enter an email address at the link below. It'll be in the description of this video. I'll put it in the podcast description as well. All you have to do to enter is be signed up to the email list, and then just for administrative purposes, if you are a YouTube user, put your YouTube display name in the form as well, and that will help me just reference you or identify you if you win. And I can just tell who it is, because sometimes your email address is not necessarily lined up with the YouTube username that I might recognize on here. So if you could do that, that would be great. If you are already signed up on the list, you're good. There's no limitation on that. If you signed up from my channel 3 years ago, you're good. You're entered into the giveaway. So very simple, very easy. If you happen to be listening to this and you don't use YouTube and you're wondering, well, what do I put in that field for a username? You can put your actual name, your first name, whatever you want to put in there. It doesn't matter. Just something to help me identify you beyond the email address. Not a problem. But so that's it. Now, what am I going to be giving away? Okay, so I should say legally, I have to post the rules. The rules will be linked and posted on my website. So you can go straight there. You can get those rules if you want to review them. But this is going to go through December 30th, and we will announce the winners on December 31st, New Year's Eve. So it'll be announced via the show, and I will make contact with you directly via the email that you have provided. So what are we going to give away? One more legality. Damn. Okay. Again, it is only for those of you in the United States that I can send the big prizes to. But if I pick someone and you happen to be signed up and you are from somewhere in the world where I can't send one of those large prizes to, I will find a way. I think I can do it with the merch to get you something. So let's talk about what we're going to give away. We're going to give away a Paul Reed Smith Silver Sky SE. We're going to give away a Boss Katana amplifier, guitar amplifier. We're going to give away some merch. We're going to give away an undisclosed number at this point of mugs, t-shirts, and sweatshirts that have the show logo and name on them. And I believe I have one guitar pedal that I can give away as well from Sonic Cake. It's a delay and reverb pedal. So it's guitar player heavy and but I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming at this from, is as a guitar player. I wish I had like actual John Mayer merch to give you, but I don't. So that's it. That's what's at stake here. It will be a random drawing using a randomized drawing app on the internet. So I will have no influence over who wins. And that's it. Any questions, just let me know. And look forward to hopefully bestowing some fun things on people who listen to this show. It is going to be open to people who follow and subscribe to my main channel, Tom Butwin, as well. But I'm not going to be doing a video over there about it. It's just going to be in the description of some videos. So you're going to have to really be paying attention to see it. So it will be mostly the Everything Mayer family here that is involved in the giveaway. That being said, it's time to cue the theme, because I gotta go. You gotta go. We've all gotta go. But another hopefully fun episode. It's this weird period now in between Thanksgiving and the end of the year. It's feeling, loose. It's feeling like, I'll get to that next year. Get to that later. But we got a giveaway to facilitate. At least I do. You've got a giveaway to enter if you would like to. If you so choose. It is at your fingertips. So, once again, thank you to everybody who supports the show. Thank you to the members. Thank you to all of you who gave me super thanks last week. Super generous. And I will see you next week.